4Ds Metrics provides a rapid and efficient platform for startups and companies to develop desirable and feasible products for the viable business model. With the 4Ds Metrics approach and tools, define to understand the customer's needs and find possible solutions while considering the entire solution space. Design a detailed design of the proposed solution and shape the products or services' desirability and feasibility. Develop a product or service that serves the identified needs, ensuring the viability and sustainability of the product and its impact on the environment. Deploy a minimum viable product, MVP, for the customer validation, traction building, and go-to-market strategy testing.
We are doing the 4Ds metrics, which is literally 4Ds. So define, design, develop, and deploy. Today we are starting with the first stage, which is define. So define is mostly about defining the customer needs. What are you trying to solve? What's the problem you're trying to solve? And what solution do you like? Defining, having an idea of roughly of what you're trying to give as a solution, and also how are you going to do it? So it has three segments: the business model hypothesis. So it's the assumption to which you are building your business, and then you map it in a tool, and then you define your team. Like I was saying a while ago, we expect every entrepreneur to not think that they're going to save the world alone. So they need to have a team, or else they will die before they can save the world. Then there's a market research, mostly about, and customer needs analysis, mostly about trying to understand your customers, and then the solution concept. But today we are only going to cover the first part on. There are so many startups that are being born every day, and those startups have reasons that they fail or succeed. But mostly the reason they fail, it's been found through research that they either are serving an existent market, so you just created a product without the customers. You created something for older people, and then when you took it to the market, the older people are not interested, so there's no market for the product. Or they did have a product failure. They had a good idea of what the product is, but when they created it, it wasn't useful, or it wasn't usable, or it reached the market and it failed because there was a lot of competition. It did not stand the pressure. Or they fail in the execution. So basically, you have a good product, you have a good market, but then you take it to the market and then you fail somewhere midway. So because the technology or other logistics and other team and operation plans have not been aligned. So after you figured out the market, the product, the execution, that's where you can go into the pricing your product in the right place, packaging it in the right way, changing the design according to the market, so that you do not lose so much money producing a product or a service, but then get no clients at all. So if a business doesn't solve a problem and it doesn't make profit, it's not even a business. We'll just leave it at that. Now, so today, I'm running through this a bit faster so that you will still get time to ask. Today, we are covering the business model hypothesis and mapping. So the business model hypothesis is, it's more like an assumption that your business is built on. So you sit down and say, I think this is the status of problem X, and for that particular status, I'm going to create a solution. Then after you've identified the assumption that invites you to creating a solution, then you go into how will I create the solution? How will it operate? Will it be for free? Will it be bought? Will it be rented? The business model basically, and your customers and the details on how you're going to make money and spend money. Then you define it. You write all this down before you implement it. So the business model mapping is after you know the assumption and you know the business model, you sit down and literally write down what you know about your business that you're about to start. Why do you need to write this? One, you need to understand your concept. You need to really know how to communicate the problem you're solving. You need to understand the value you're giving to the people and how you're going to stay relevant and competitive in the market, because you're creating a solution today and somebody else is thinking about the same thing or a solution for the same problem you're solving. So you need to have an idea of how you're going to solve a problem but stay profitable and healthy, basically. So moving on forward, we are going to start with the business hypothesis. So this is an assumption. Your assumption has to be as clear as possible. It has to be smart. You guys have heard about smart things over time. You've heard about SMART is an acronym for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. It's used to create different metrics in different places. But in this particular case, we're looking at specifically how specific it is, how measurable can you really quantify what you're doing, and does it eliminate doubts and as well as confusion to the clients, basically. So here we have an example. Can one person unmute themselves and read for me this example that has an X above it?
We believe that young adults don't plan for their future.
We believe that young adults don't plan for the future. Honestly, this sounds like a problem, but then what do you mean? So who are young adults? What do you mean by planning? What do you mean by future? So basically, there are some confounding variables that are in here. You're confusing people. You are not, you're putting in elements that are a bit vague, if I would say it. So the second example that has a V on it, can somebody else read it for us so that we go forward? Somebody else, please mute your microphone. All right, we'll pick names.
We believe that the majority of young adults between 18 to 24 don't save more than $100 per month for their retirement.
Great, thank you very much. So these two examples are both talking about young adults. They're talking about the future, but one of them is a bit specific than the other. So one of them has taken out the idea of just saying young adults, a variable that is not clear, and defining what they mean by young adults. So we're talking about people from 18 to 24. When they say plan for their future, we've also gone to what do we mean by planning? We're talking about the future, financial future, securing their retirement by saving $100 or more. But this particular problem we're solving, we're saying 18 to 24-year-olds are not saving more than $100. Maybe they're saving less than $100, or they're saving nothing at all, which means they're struggling to actually secure their future. Now, for you, when you're going to do the assignment, please remember to write a hypothesis that is as clear as possible. So remember the SMART acronym and refer to that when you create the hypothesis. Now, these other important definitions, we mentioned them yesterday. For those who were not present, please refer to the presentation we sent you. So remember about innovation, creativity, design thinking, and every other process that is involved while you're defining the hypothesis. This is where I'm going to take a bit more time explaining. So now the business model canvas, it is a tool that helps you communicate your business. So we've just said, the assumption to why you're going to start an entrepreneurship or a startup. You're saying this is the assumption that is the basis to which I'm going to start a business. But now, what are other key information that are part of my business that I'm going to communicate? So let me zoom a little bit so that you guys can see my screen, and then I'll explain one part by one. Some of you might have come in contact with Lean Canvas. It's pretty much the same thing with a few parts added in here, and I'm going to explain each briefly. So the first thing you do when you're going to do a business model canvas is to think and say, what problem am I solving? So the first thing is, what problem am I solving? Which is part of the other hypothesis we just mentioned earlier. Now, remember, when you're filling a business model canvas, you're not writing a proposal. You're not going to write 5 paragraphs of the problem. You're just doing bullet points and say, I'm solving this problem, I'm solving this problem, I'm solving this problem. If you have more than one problem. So if you have one problem, you just put that problem in there as brief as possible. Now, after knowing the problem, who are you solving it for? Who are the people that have this problem? So from the problem, you go to the customer segment and say, these are my people that I'm solving it for. So I'm solving problem X that is faced by toddlers from 3 to 5 years old. These are the people that are facing the problem that I'm solving. Now, after knowing the target population, you say, is there any other alternative that is existent for the solution of this problem? As in, has there been any other person who has tried to solve this issue? What are the existing alternatives? Because these are going to be your competitors. If you're saying maybe toddlers do not like drinking milk, so you want to create something that attracts them to drinking milk. Has there been somebody else who has tried to do something like that? Maybe they created a sippy cup That's the other cup that has two heads. Or maybe they created a bottle that sinks when they drink milk, or they created something, basically. So remember, in almost all the cases, somebody else has tried to solve that problem, unless it's COVID-19 that just showed up. So maybe it's a brand new problem in the world, but high chances are somebody else has tried to solve that problem. So you write the existing alternative to the problem. Now, after writing the existing alternative, you say, what is the solution now? What are you offering to your clients right now? Maybe your target population is toddlers, 4 to 5-year-old, and parents, because toddlers will not come to buy your businesses. So here in the customer segment, you have toddlers and parents. One of them is going to use, another one is going to buy. So, and maybe healthcare professionals. So you have like 3 people that can use your solution. So you define what your solution is. You define what your solution is. After you define the solution, you go to unique value proposition. What does your solution provide to the customers? Like an example I'm giving right now is, if I'm creating a sippy cup, the other cup that babies drink that has 2 handles on the side, what does that cup help babies do? So here you could write an explanation that is no more than 2 to 3 lines, maybe saying, helps customers carry milk better. They can move around with the milk, so it's easier for them to play and drink. Basically, I'm just using a dummy example. So the unique value proposition, what does your solution offer to your clients? Now, then the next thing you will do is the unfair advantage. Now, so what do I have that is unique to me as an entrepreneur, versus every other entrepreneur that is in the business? Remember, we listed down the existing alternative. What do I have that gives me a competitive advantage over the other businesses? It could be something in your product. It could be something in your skills. It could be something on your team. It could be something around. It doesn't only have to be tied on the product. It could be around this business model. So what do you have that is unique? Now, key partners. How many people, or who are the people that are going to help you take this product to your customers? How many people are going to be involved in the whole process of your business, basically? So we're saying, if I have a sippy cup, is it something that doctors can recommend? Then in that case, the doctors are part of your key partners. Is it something that will be used by education? So the Ministry of Education can recommend it in all the early childhood centers. So the education is your partner. Now, key activities. What are the things that are involved in my business that will help me finally either produce or deliver this product to my customers? Now, the other part is key metrics. How do I measure my success? For example, am I measuring my success by how many cups that are bought? Am I measuring my success by reviews of customers? So it could be different metrics, but how do I measure my success? Here at the high level concept, this one I want to emphasize that it's a brief statement that explains your solution to the customer. An example we have here, we are saying the person who was creating YouTube, if they wanted to create a high level concept, they would have said Flickr for videos. So for example, Flickr is an online platform where somebody can upload pictures of, let's say, an event, and people can go there and browse a lot of pictures that happen in different events in the world where they were not present. And YouTube is the same thing as Flickr, but it has videos. So videos created all around the world. So how can you, in a short statement that is concise and clear, define your solution? Now, lastly, we're talking about channels. How does your solution get from you to your customers? How do they know about the product? How do they get the product delivered to them? How do they learn about the product? How do they interact with the product? So the channels. One thing that I had almost forgotten here is that when you have more than one customer segment, because your customer segment could be divided in different segments, you also want to think about who amongst this customer segment can easily or adopt my solution earlier than the rest. For example, if we are saying an example that was given, we have toddlers, we have mothers and parents, we have schools that have daycares. Chances are maybe mothers are going to be the ones that adopt the solution earlier than the rest. So your early adopters, these are your ideal customers. The people that feel the problem the most, would love the solution the most, are your early adopters. And lastly, here is cost structure and revenue streams. This is where we talk about numbers and money. So how much am I going to spend on my business and how much am I going to make? So basically, where do I spend money? What are the things that are going to take money from my account? And revenue streams is what are the things that are going to bring money in my account? So cost structure could be your variable cost, fixed cost, the rent, the equipment, the raw materials, the salaries, the people, the marketing, all those things. That's cost structure, the things that you spend money on. So where are you going to get money? Where are you going to spend money? So this is generally the business model canvas. I would say that the business model canvas as a whole is bundled into 3 segments. One is talking about the value creation. What are you giving the customers? The other one is talking about customer creation. Who are your customers? So basically, who are they? How does things get to them? What the channels? It's talking about the customers. And lastly, the revenue creation, spending and earning. So you will have an assignment template in the tool on the platform, and on that platform you will get the template, and you will write down your hypothesis and fill out the business model canvas for the idea that you have submitted. And this one I'll run through briefly. So basically, like I said, an entrepreneur does not operate solo. For everything. You could know how to do accounting, you could know how to do marketing, you could know how to design. Maybe you are a software engineer, but you will not do all those things for your business alone. You need to get an accountant, you need to get a designer, you need to get somebody, because you have other bigger responsibilities as the founder of the startup. So this is the thing you will be telling the people. So you need a team of people that have the skills, that know the workload, that are resourceful for you. You don't need people that are going to be a burden to you instead of helping you. So basically, there's a nice quote here that says, no one can whistle a symphony, it takes a whole orchestra. You could know how to play a piano and a violin and a guitar, but you can't play all of them at the same time. You need 3 people to play that, and then we have good music. Now, that for the team, you will also have an assignment template that tells you to map out your expectations about the team, so the number of people you need, and definitely what you need them for. So you can't just say, I need 5 people to do what? What are these people going to be doing in your businesses? You are not just going to hire people just because you have your friends who are not employed, but what are whoever you're going to be hiring in your business. Now, finally, this is a final slide. We have different tools. As you learn about your problem, as you learn about your customers, as you do your businesses, there are different tools that you guys have interacted with that can help you do surveys, that can help you do meetings. For example, is the Google Meet we're doing right now. You guys have been on Zoom, you've been on WebEx, you've been on Skype. Maybe you haven't, but it's because it's an old channel. But different tools that can help you in easing the process in which you're doing for a business. So these are example. I will copy these tools and put them in your slides, so you can still hit us up and say, I want to do a survey. What kind of product tool can I use? So in this case, we're talking about things that can ease your work. There's so much on your work that you can automate and not having to struggle.